Hi, everybody. I'm Rebecca Gwanson, and I'm here with the KCIT Spotlight, where we highlight the amazing people that are connected with KCIT. And today I have the honor of being here with Helen Spence. Helen, thank you so much for being here with me today.
Thank you for having me, Rebecca.
I like to just dive right in, right?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Would you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, the work you are doing right now?
Okay, well, my background is in human services. I have my master's in social work, and I've been involved in some degree of human service work since 1983. So it's been many, many years working in everything from child welfare, juvenile probation, administration, and now my major role is the Dauphin County Community Liaison.
That's a pretty amazing and extensive background, and I feel like it really shows up in your work with KCIT, the wisdom and the experience. So, speaking of your work with KCIT, how long have you been connected with KCIT, and what brought you to us?
Well, one of the being the community liaison, one of the things that I focus on is things that are first and foremost of concern to the larger community. Okay, certainly as we continue to look at trauma and in our communities, mental health issues and things, we begin as a community, and when I say as a community, I'm talking about an array of different entities coming together and looking at that specific issue and what could we do to educate, inform, and connect people to the services and supports that they need. So what brought me is one of the initiatives that kind of grew out of our community partners wanting to look at a way to come up with continuing to inform and educate the community as a whole about trauma and trauma care, trauma, the ACEs and all of those things. So we started a community group called the ACE Steering Committee, and that committee certainly came together and still comes together once a month and talks about ways that they can, get the information out into our community, all types of groups. And we started doing that, I'm going to say, in about using the resilience viewing that Nadine Burton and Dr. I can't think of his name right now, had put together and very nice piece. And then we would break it down and explain that to the community and give them a chance to dialogue with us. But one of the things that we noticed early on, because this information was so pertinent to the people in the community, we needed to make sure that we weren't re-traumatizing people in a setting like this, because many things came up, feelings, etc. So we wanted to be better prepared to really deal with those things in an appropriate and professional way. So we did have two people at that time from our human services department, from the children and youth department, that had been KCIT trained, and they were working with us as part of the viewing people. And we knew, and then when they left, we knew that we needed to get more people involved. So they had given us the contact to get in contact with, I think it was Miss Donna Welch, and she got in contact. Her and I started talking, and I explained to her what we were doing, the initiative and so forth. And she said, well, and I asked her, I said, well, how can I can get more people trained so that as we continue to grow and go and inform and educate the community, we can do it in a safe way. So she said, well, right now, and that's right when COVID hit. You all had a training session where people could come to, and it was a 3-day whatever. And she said, well, we're working on, she said, in fact, when her and I met, she said, as we speak, we are working on a virtual training that maybe you all can be the first group of folks that can go through this thing, and we can kind of test it out with each other. So very nice partnership developed. And I'm just so thankful for that because at that time we took the whole ACE group, had them come on and be a part of the training and get the, the expertise and so forth, and get their training and certification in your training. And it was a 3-day training for, I think it was 3 nights or something like that, but it was just excellent. The trainers just, oh my God, it was just excellent. Everyone learned so much, and they stuck with it. And now, we definitely use that as one of the requirements for any of the people that would like to work with us, and showing the resilience film, and doing the work that we're doing, because now we, in addition to showing this resilience film, we have now trained a group of people along with our psychiatrist, Dr. Dawn Crossan, who trains the group that wants to become what we're calling community trauma support facilitators. Okay, these are people in the community that have had, trauma just like the rest of it, the different degrees of it, but are willing to go and do small groups with the people. So after they see this film, we don't just leave them. They might want to have more intimate groups to begin to talk and feel more comfortable around being able to discuss their own issues, to talk about connections and resources and things like that. So in order for those trauma-informed support facilitators to become that, and they actually contract with us, they become contractors. And what they have to do, they have to take the KCIT as a requirement. They have to take the trauma, beyond trauma care with Dr. Cross, and they have to take confidentiality and ethics. And of course, they have to have all their clearance, but there's a list of requirements in order that for them to be safe, that we feel safe to actually kind of facilitate those groups. And we had our first actual groups, the first small group, what we call CTS groups go through in July. So it was very, very interesting. And really what came out of it was what we wanted. People felt comfortable enough. If they needed more help, we were able to connect them to the services that they need, because, unfortunately, everybody doesn't know that they need the kind of help or feel comfortable enough to get the help. These groups in the middle, these community groups in the middle, seem to help people get past that and go into getting more help. So we had a group of 7 people that completed the sessions, and we have a curriculum that we do with them. And they completed their session, and out of the 7, 4 of them went into professional counseling. So we felt really, really great about that. But again, it was because of the connections with these people. The trainers actually had the KCIT training, which we feel is valuable and to the utmost, because again, it's very important that we don't re-traumatize people, and that we really have a skill set that allows us to identify certain things, and not just identify, but be able to connect them to the services and supports that they need moving forward. And that's what that has really done for us. So it's been a wonderful partnership, and we continue. In fact, we just had a couple of people that just took the training with the recent training, because they go from the ACE steering committee to wanting to become the community trauma support facilitators. So, and in order to do that, they have to now take the KCIT training.
I just feel like it's such a beautiful example of community care. Like, it's laying this really trauma informed, amazing foundation and making it accessible to communities and to community members in kind of this
Yes.
mutual aid of giving and receiving. And it's powerful work, Helen. It really is. It's needed,
Yeah, but we can only do it together. And
It's
I
true.
think the partnerships, I think everybody brings a real significant piece to it.
Mhm.
to making it happen holistically in our
Yeah.
community.
Yeah,
Hmm.
holistic is that word, thinking of whole community, whole person. And I
Hmm.
love you saying, we can't do it alone. We can't. This is all about collaboration and bringing our strengths and gifts to the table. When you when you think about your different experiences with KKIT, are there any times that kind of stand out in your mind that you'd like to talk about?
Um, there's a few, but one significant one. I remember when we first started out early on, which really kind of brought me in. And I forget the young lady's name, but she came from. That's when you were actually allowing the people to come to these different resilient meetings and viewings and things like that. Where we were doing it in a school for a school district, and it was a whole bunch of teachers and faculty and things like that. And we had, I think it was two people had been selected to come work with us as we did that viewing. And I remember it was I think it was a teacher, a female teacher, um, who obviously had gotten very emotional about things, and how I watched the KKIT worker work with this lady as she went out into the hall and followed her and seemed to comfort her and giving her the resources that she needed. And I said to myself then, that's what we have to have. We have to have this.
Mhm.
If we can help one person
Yes.
along the way through this journey and get the knowledge and the expertise to do it, that is paramount to this process.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that stands out to me until
Thank
the
you
and
for sharing.
yeah, and it really makes me understand the real impact and why that is so crucial to
Mhm.
this process.
Mhm. Along those lines, what would you say to the questions of, why KKIT, why take a training, why become trauma informed?
Well, like I said, because if we can help in any way to not to re-traumatize people, to help people through their trauma as they move forward and help them understand it in a way that how should I say, in pieces that make sense to them. Because again, with the moment trauma happens, especially depending on what it is, but significant trauma happens, you have to departmentalize what's going on, and I believe that when you have people that are able to help you to do that, you're able to make a little more sense of what's going on, and then by being able to make some sense out of it, you're able to at least go in a direction that you can go toward healing and getting that kind of resilience that is needed to move on with your life. So that's why I see that KCAT is just very crucial in this whole paradigm of trauma.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm grateful for your time today. Switching gears a little bit in closing, do you have a fun fact that you would like to share with us?
Well, I guess when we speak of trauma, I'm a mother of 9 sons. And, it has been an interesting, very interesting journey. And, when I think about life as it exists, I mean, when you're dealing with 9 sons and a husband, you definitely go into uh, how do you go? How do you say? I'm not going to say trauma mode, but a mode where you have to be able to be resilient around things. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that that's kind of the fun fact. My life kind of revolves around that, and now I have 17 granddaughters, and
That's
so
wonderful.
so that's the fun facts that I have for myself. So it's a never revolving door, things that life experiences, I should say.
A lot of fullness there. Thank you
Yes.
for sharing that. And thank you so much for spending time with me today and
Oh, I enjoyed
allowing this
it.
interview to kind of go out there to share with our other volunteers and people who follow us. And thank you for the way that you bring yourself to the world and the work that you've been doing for so long with such care. We
Well,
all
thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Rebecca, and thank you for this invitation anytime.
Okay.